Most entrepreneurs are trapped in a psychological prison they built themselves. While you're grinding 80 hours a week, convincing yourself that just hustle harder is the path to freedom, successful business owners have already cracked the code to scaling without the burnout. And the difference between 1 million and 100 million is not effort. You know, and I know a lot of people that put in a lot of time, energy, and effort, but they can't break through. They don't actually make the money that they want to make. So the difference isn't necessarily the amount of effort, but is the mental models. And your brain is wired to solve the wrong constraints, and this could be costing you millions of dollars every year. If you're new to this channel, my name is Montero, and I came to the US 8 years ago, and I started as an immigrant washing cars for a living while I was going to school. And today I help 7 and 8 figure businesses scale their sales operation with AI and automation. And one of the clients that I have scaled from 0 to 150 million in 3 years. And I've helped clients generate over 150 million cash collected through this systematic approach. And this helped me build a multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio by age 27. And what I'll tell you, this isn't just about working harder. Of course, I do work very hard, but it's not just that. It's about building the systems, because systems beat hustle every single time. And today I help entrepreneurs implement a scalable selling system, transforming owner-dependent operations into a predictable revenue machine. And today I'm going to walk you through my Mindset Multiplier Framework, the systematic approach separating the top 1% from everyone stuck grinding harder instead of thinking smarter. And you will learn how to identify and eliminate psychological bottlenecks secretly sabotaging your revenue and your quality of life, and develop the high-performance mental operating system every 8-figure entrepreneur uses, so that you can create predictable revenue without the burnout and transform yourself from a stress operator to a strategic architect. Because the key difference between 7 and 8 figures entrepreneurs isn't necessarily working harder, it's about developing the right mental infrastructure. The reason why 87% of businesses fail isn't because of market conditions or capital. They are focusing on the wrong constraints. And your business reflects your internal operating system, and you're probably running on an outdated software. You're trying to run a modern business with a brain designed for hunting and gathering, like as if you're running the latest software on a 20-year-old computer. And most entrepreneurs, they're trapped into this hustle hamster wheel where they work 80 hours a week, they add complexity, while revenue stays flat. And your brain's programmed for survival, not necessarily scaling. It's designed to react and grind, and scaling requires systematic thinking, leverage, and automation. So basically, this cycle is you get revenue spikes, you hire more people, you can hit bottlenecks, you throw more hours, you lose clients, you panic, and then you start discounting your programs and you start firing people. And this is literally survival mode in a scaling environment. And if you think in terms of systems beating hustle every single time, the difference between entrepreneurs who can scale past the 10 million mark and those stuck isn't necessarily talent. It's just this mental architecture that I'm going to share here with you. So the Mindset Multiplier Framework systematically re-engineers your mental operating system. And the step number 1 is just having complete awareness of your current situation. So you need to diagnose your mental operating system. So what you want to think of, it's like as if you're making decisions. Are these from fear or from opportunity? Are you putting out fires, or are you actually building the prevention systems? If over 20% of your time is in reactive mode, you're in survival consciousness. And businesses running by survival mode plateau around 300, a million, or 3 million, because those are not necessarily business ceilings. They are psychological ceilings, not market limitations that we gotta overcome. So the step 2 is the deconstruction. You gotta break down the business bottlenecks. And most think their problems is a lead or an offer or a money model or a sales script, but 80% of the limitations stem from owners' unconscious patterns. And typically you want to look at 3 areas: any self-sabotaging beliefs, any fear triggers, or any unconscious decision patterns. And for example, I had a client at 2.8 million who wouldn't break the 3 million mark, and we discovered he believed that success requires sacrifice. And every time approaching 3 million, he unconsciously sabotaged, fearing what he would lose or fearing what could happen if his business actually grew more. So what we've done is the step number 3, which is the reconstruction. thinking, which we need to think like a business architect, because business operators, they solve problems. Business architects, they design the systems preventing the problems from happening, because as you solve one problem, another one is going to come up. So if you're constantly solving the same problem, you're actually not evolving. And an operator sometimes acts as a firefighter. An architect is a city planner designing fireproof buildings. So there's a key difference there. One is just putting out the fires, and the other one is preventing the fires from happening in the first place. And systems thinking becomes the default. So instead of thinking, how do I fix this? You should ask, how do I build a system making this impossible? And the way you're going to do this is implementing automated decision making. Basically, you want to map out pre-programmed responses to each role, each scenario, and then give this to your team so there's a recipe on how to operate. And the stage 4 is integration. You need to maintain a high performance mindset. And there's 3 critical protocols. There's the mental daily recalibration, where you just, before you jump on your computer, and it's what most people think that's the right thing to do. They wake up and they just go to their computer and they don't necessarily have a plan when it comes to what they're gonna do. And I was just exactly like that until a few months ago, where I realized that if I spent 10 minutes, 30 minutes really thinking about the businesses that I'm working on, thinking about who are the key players, thinking about the priorities, I can actually think about making the right decisions instead of just going on my ClickUp, going on my Slack, and start being reactive about my day. So that is what strategic reflection is. We need to stop thinking in terms of fear versus opportunities decisions and start thinking about systematizing the business operations. And the result that you're going to get from this is an owner independent business, because you're psychologically independent from the business. So the way you're going to do this is starting with the highest leverage actions. You need to block 2 hours this week and answer these 3 key questions. What are my beliefs about my capacity to scale this business? What assumptions about my team abilities I have? And what stories about why business can't run without me I'm telling myself? So the moral of the story is that your business is only as scalable as your mindset. So if you fix your psychology first, your systems will follow. And then the step 2 is creating a strategic thinking system. So if you block 30 minutes daily, you work on the mindset, not in the business. And what I mean by mindset, it's not necessarily meditating or doing anything like that. It's just thinking more strategically about the business before you actually start operating on the business. And you think about, what constraints am I solving? What opportunities am I missing? What would I do if I couldn't fail? Because that way, what you're doing is you're just trying to see all the decisions that you have to make, all the people that are bringing you problems. And you're always trying to look back when they bring this problem as an urgent problem, as the world is going to end, and really ask yourself if that problem actually helps you solve the main constraint of the business. If that problem actually helps you capitalize on the opportunities that are right in front of you. So the only thing between you and your dream business is the operating system between your ears. If you continue the old game, working in your business, grinding 80 hours and being reactive about what's going on, or become a strategic architect of success, you will see major differences in your business, because before you actually start chopping the wood, you're going to spend more time making sure that the axe is very, very sharp. Because if you're just spending 80 hours a week chopping wood, and if you shift this to sharpening your axe a little bit more, whenever you spend 40 hours a week or 30 hours a week chopping the wood, you may even be able to chop 2 times or 3 times more wood than if you just didn't think about sharpening the axe first. And that's basically what entrepreneurs that broke to 8 figures stopped doing. They stopped trying to outwork problems and start building the systems that solve those problems, because systems beat hustle every single time. So your next move can define the future of your business, your family, and really your mental health. Because if you're not ready to upgrade your mental software and create this owner independent revenue, probably you're gonna burn out and you're gonna feel pain, and it's gonna be unnecessarily more difficult than it should be. And even building the systems, it's already pretty difficult in and of itself. So think about that and let me know what happens after you implement this framework in your business. And that's pretty much it for this video. If you like this video, please subscribe and comment down below. And I look forward to see you here in the next video.